What's going on, everyone? Matt Savoca here from the Stokastic Fantasy Football Channel, and we are back with a brand new series as we get into the dog days of August and closer to your fantasy drafts. We are doing the draft position series. We are going to break down your typical draft and our strategy from every single spot in a 12-team draft, and then we're going to culminate it with a video kind of breaking down the best tips and tricks for every draft spot, no matter where you are. And breaking it down with me today is Nick Lepre. Follow him at Notorious FNTSY. Nick, how are you this Monday?
As per usual, I am doing pretty good. Now, it is a Monday, so I'm feeling a bit of the Mondays. My green screen was feeling the Mondays before it wasn't working correctly. Same with my camera, so you love to see that. But I'm pretty excited to talk about this topic, and I think this video is useful for people who are drafting at 12 overall, but it might also be useful if you're 10th or 11th overall as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There is some leeway here about how this strategy can be used based on draft position because that's the big caveat, right, Nick? Every single draft room, every single league is a little bit different. Now, one
Yeah.
thing I will say is we're going to be using ADP from typical redraft platforms like Sleeper, Yahoo, and that means that unlike best ball drafts, we often see bell cow running backs creeping up towards that end of the first round, middle of the second round, as your league mates, as many of you know, strive to get that bell cow running back early. Now, again, I already said it. Every draft room is different. Know your league, but we are going to be breaking down the 12th spot. We're going to be picking last in the first round of a 12-team league, a half PPR league. And we're going to start with some overarching strategies, some things you might want to bring up. And I think I'm going to surprise you, Nick, because I have a DFS strategy that I think is best employable in redraft this year from the 12th spot. Any idea what you think I'm talking about?
Honestly, I have zero idea.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll start. I'll leave a little teaser like that. We'll start with your general strategy. It's the end of the first round. You've seen 11 picks come off the board. We'll talk about who those likely will be first and foremost. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, the big four running backs, they're going to be gone. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, the big three wide receivers, they're going to be gone. So that's 7 I can pretty much guarantee you. Now, in a half PPR league, I think you're also going to see Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, and then it gets interesting. After that, 10 and 11 are definitely different by league this year. Joe Mixon in the mix there. Devontae Adams, absolutely. Stephon Diggs, absolutely. All three of them need to be considered at the 12 spot if they are there. Now, let's assume that one of those three are left of Diggs, Adams, and Mixon. Do you just take the last remaining of those three at 12 and just call it a day? Is it that easy at the 12 spot?
Yeah, most of the time it is that easy unless Travis Kelce is there. I know we didn't break down Travis Kelce yet, but I think if Kelce is there, you can make the argument that he's the number 12 pick. But at 12, it's just very simple. There's 12 guys that I like in the first round. And if whichever one of those guys is left, that's basically the one I'm taking every single time. And I don't try to overthink the position that I'm drafting early on in the draft. I think it's fine if you draft a running back in the first round or a wide receiver, to be honest with you, especially if your league is very running back heavy, which a lot of leagues are now because people panic about the running back position. That should be very easy to smash the draft button on a guy like Stephon Diggs.
I think Diggs is a fine draft pick at the round 1-2 turn. It really is fine. As you said, it's almost at a not that it doesn't matter, but all of these player evaluations, the expected fantasy point evaluations are so similar right at this part at the 1-2 turn. Kind of taking the last one remaining makes sense, but you actually hit the nail on the head for me. I really am liking Travis Kelce here. As one of my 2 picks here, Travis Kelce just makes a whole lot of sense. Yes, he's up there in age, but the uncertainty surrounding the rest of the Chiefs receiving core,
Yeah.
why not just ignore that and just get the player who likely will have 130, maybe 150 targets if this team remains as pass heavy as it has in previous years? And again, it's going to be fun rooting for some Chiefs touchdowns. So I think going with Travis Kelce, and honestly, another player we need to consider once the second round starts, I think Nick Chubb in a redraft league is really interesting. Compared to best ball, where we're looking for spike weeks, Nick Chubb, regardless of who the quarterback is on a week in and week out basis in Cleveland, I think that is a very safe second round pick. Am I crazy there?
No, I don't think so. To me, Nick Chubb is like the most boring pick you can make, right? You take Nick Chubb, he's
He
going to
is a
finish
little
as like
boring.
running back 10, 9, 8, something like that. You're never really going to win your league because of Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb is also never going to just put your team directly in the dirt, right? You know what he is going to do. He's not going to catch a bunch of passes. He's going to run the ball. And if Deshaun Watson is only suspended like 8 games, then Nick Chubb down the stretch of the season really could be a league winner if they are putting themselves in the position to score a bunch of points. I am not as big of a fan of Nick Chubb as you because I am really hunting for upside in the first 2 picks. If you want to keep it safe, though, I do understand why you'd want to draft Nick Chubb.
Okay, so let's say we're going more for upside. You think you can mine the value, you can get some RB2 value compared to your league mates because you're focused in on the Stokastic Fantasy Football channel all summer long. What's that upside pick for you at 13 then?
Yeah, for me, it's probably going to be DeAndre Swift. I really think that DeAndre Swift has the position here in Detroit to become just the bell cow back clearly on the team. I do think Jamal Williams is going to be seeing some touches, but I think we see DeAndre Swift potentially take over a little bit more this season. I think the Lions offense is better than people give them credit for, and this is a half PPR league, so in half PPR, full PPR, those catches that he's going to be getting are going to be very important. So I like DeAndre Swift a ton. There's a lot of players right here that I'd be very interested in, but I think DeAndre Swift might end up being a first round pick by the time we reach August.
Ooh, some spicy takes there. That is upside galore. Absolutely. Swift, the talent, absolutely, but I don't think Jamal Williams is going away right away. I like it. I like the debate though. All right. Obviously, people care about their first and second round picks more than anything. So I'm glad we spent some extra time there. But do you have any overarching strategies that you are considering at the 12th pick? Because I'll tell you what, there are two. There are two situations that I want to highlight here with the end of the first round. One, as we said, we're probably coming away at that 12-13 spot with at least one running back. I think it is an excellent time to go hero RB because you've got wide receiver options for days. I'm looking at 36, 37. You can take your chances on so many wide receivers at this spot. This is where Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson are going. You often have players like Keenan Allen or AJ Brown sometimes falling because people are so running back hungry. But then you also have these speculative players like Terry McLaurin, who could quietly have a better season than he's ever had with Carson Wentz. DJ Moore is going to creep up draft boards. I think if you take 3 or 4 of these options before going quarterback, absolutely a savvy way to play this draft board. But I want to give you one more thing. I teased that DFS strategy before. I think that if you take Kelsey in round 1, I am moving Patrick Mahomes up my draft board, possibly to QB2. As long as Josh Allen has gone,
Mhm.
I like stacking Kelsey and Mahomes because there is so much guaranteed volume. We don't need to force stacks. We don't need to go way above ADP, but taking Patrick Mahomes at QB2 is not egregious. So as long
Yeah.
as Allen is gone and you have Travis Kelsey, so you got that positive correlation, I really like Patrick Mahomes at the 3-4 turn.
Yeah, I like that strategy as well. I mean, when you said something about a DFS strategy, I thought maybe you were thinking super deep and it was like some big brain strategy, right? The stacking was too obvious. So it kind of went over my head. But my opinion here, when you're at the beginning of the draft, I think you can honestly go with your first 2 picks being running back and using the double hero running back strategy where you draft, say, I don't like Nick Chubb that much. So say you go ahead and you draft Aaron Jones and you draft Saquon Barkley or
Okay.
DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones. And then right after that, you are just spraying at the wide receiver
Yep.
position. You are just shooting wide receivers left and right for the next like 4, 5, 6 rounds. And then you can hop back on the running back train. I really think that is a strategy that I'm going to be looking to heavily utilize this year if I'm at the 12 spot, unless, of course, you are in a league. Again, this is things happen in leagues, right? There might just be 10 running backs taken in the first round because people just love running backs that much in your league. But in most leagues,
Mhm.
I think you really can get 2 solid picks at the turn. And then, like you said, there are so many good wide receivers later on in the draft, especially in these redraft leagues. It's not like a best ball league where you have to reach on certain players. For instance, a guy like Michael Pittman, you could be getting in the 4th round. In most best ball drafts, you're seeing him go closer to the 3rd round at this point. And then even later on in the draft, you can go ahead and get a guy like Allen Robinson, get guys that I really like Darnell Mooney. And then later on, if you're scared at the running back position, that you could just reach up and take a guy like, say, one of my favorite guys, Devin Singletary,
Hmm.
Rashad Penny. So if you just take two running backs early on, you could wait 5, 6 more rounds and then be still pretty happy with the running back core you make. And you can even wait even longer if you're that confident in those running backs.
Yeah, that 84, 85 range is really fruitful. You're probably going to see some running backs fall. And one thing I also wanted to mention, as if you are going hero RB or double hero RB, as we talked about, consider if your league has an IR spot. Because right now, right around pick 60, you got players like Chris Godwin, who is a much different value proposition if you can stash him on an IR slot if he is out for a few games, because when he comes back, he's an elite talent on an elite offense.
Yeah.
You also have players like DeAndre Hopkins, who you're going to have to eat a roster spot. Most leagues don't have suspended players allowed in IR. Certainly, if you do, then he's a smash pick at his current ADP of 84 overall. But as you said, Nick, this is the area we have been taking shots at running back. Get multiple from this spot. Miles Sanders is going to be available to you at the 5-6 or sometimes even the 7-8. And then after that, we're just filling out the rest of our starter positions. So I do feel like after pick 100, it's just about value mining, figuring out players who have fallen, and cleaning up any starter positions you need to fill out. So why don't we hop into the draft room? We got a draft set up for us today, and we're going to go to the 12 spot. Obviously, every draft is different. We're going to be using Sleeper's platform. So even Sleeper's ADP compared to the ADPs we were talking about a moment ago, a little bit different. That's the caveat we'll add, but this is exciting. We're going to get in here. We're going to see if we can employ some of these strategies we've been talking about, and then we'll get out of here. We know you guys have more to do with your day. Before we head into the draft, though, just want to remind you guys that the best place to hone your skills for fantasy football, honestly, is in the best ball space.
Yeah.
The ADP might be a little bit different, but it's real people, real drafts, and you can get in there for as little as $3. Right now, Underdog Fantasy is just having incredible promotions, and we can't recommend them enough. When you use promo code Stokastic, you can get a $179 value. By making a $100 deposit over on Underdog, they'll double it for you. Free money, always good. We'll also kick in a free Stokastic redraft fantasy football and best ball draft kit, get you covered for not only your home leagues but all these best ball drafts. We have tournament lineups, cash lineups, and projections. We have so much that we can help you out with, and promo code Stokastic, Stokastic, is the way to get it. That's promo code Stokastic on Underdog Fantasy. Check it out today. All right, Nick, into the draft we go. We're picking from the 12th spot. Let's get rolling and see what we get. Of course, running backs early and often. All four of the big four: Taylor, McCaffrey, Henry, Eckler, then Kupp, Jefferson, Najee, Cook, Adams, Chase, and Mixon. None of those big three are left, and that means we do have Stephon Diggs. As we said, totally fine. We do have options to take two running backs, or we can do my little stack option. How are you feeling? I'll leave this 1-2 turn to you, my friend.
Alrighty, so I'm definitely not going with Nick Chubb again. I kind of hammered in on that earlier on. I think Nick Chubb is a fine running back again. It really just is all about the fact that I just don't see top 5 upside with him. And if I'm drafting someone in the first or second round, I'm hoping maybe they're the number 1 player at their position. So we're going to go ahead and do a bit of your stacking action here, even if we don't get Pat Mahomes, because on Sleeper here, they go a little bit crazy for the quarterback position. But I do still think Travis Kelce is worth a first round pick, even if you can't stack him. Again, he's like the number 1 option guaranteed in Kansas City. And then after that, we are going to go ahead and we're not going to go with the running back here because I want to see how our draft strategy changes if we don't do that. And we're going to go with Stephon Diggs here, lock in our tight end number 1, and then lock in our number 1 receiver on 2 excellent offenses in the AFC.
Fascinating choice. I think this is not for the faint of heart, because I think we're going to see a ton of running backs go here in the second round, and it's going to be, or feel like, slim pickings. But I guarantee you there's going to be some seriously talented wide receivers available to us. There goes Mahomes at the 3-4. Are you kidding me? That is incredibly, incredibly high. I can't recommend that. No. All right. We're not doing the stacking option. There we go. Oh, man. So we're looking at David Montgomery, Breece Hall. David Montgomery, a player that in the Stokastic projections are quite high, but I think there's probably better options here. Deontay Johnson is one that intrigues me. Terry McLaurin, we mentioned him before. If you feel like we have to get a running back here, I actually think Brees Hall is the one creeping up my draft boards because, again, talk about upside compared to what we actually think of them now. I think David Montgomery is a we know who he is kind of player. Not bad, but not league winning. George Kittle, we already have a tight end. It's probably not for me. Antonio Gibson, tons of question marks. I'd rather take the question marks of Deontay Johnson or Terry McLaurin, to be honest.
Okay, dokie. So you want to go receiver here?
I think so. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think so. So who do you prefer, Deontay Johnson or McLaurin? My lean would be Johnson.
Me too.
Okay, so we're going to go Deontay Johnson here. Then we're back up again. Do you want to go running back or just keep hammering the receiver train here, as this is a 3 wide receiver league?
This is a 3 wide receiver league. Half PPR instead of full PPR means we do have a little bit more emphasis on the running back. Oh, let's do it. This is an interesting way to play it. Let's fill out the flex position with wide receivers. So I think McLaurin is the smash pick for me, or if DJ Moore is still available, I'm considering him here. Honestly, these round 4 receivers are my favorite. I might move around the board a little bit. Like A-Rob, I'm considering way above ADP here if I really like him. I think McLaurin though is
Okay.
we'll just go with ADP.
All right. I also like Michael Pittman at that slot as well.
Oh yeah, we could have done that.
No, but it's okay. I think Terry McLaurin's a little bit underrated right now. He's just a really good player who's had terrible quarterbacks his whole career. So
Exactly.
after we took McLaurin, Brees Hall, Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, Montgomery, Kittle, Gibson, Dobbins, Waddle, Jackson, Waller, Jacobs, Moore, Judy, Cooper, Elijah Mitchell, Michael Pittman, Kyler Murray, the short king, Mike Williams, Joe Burrow, Cortland Sutton, Chris Godwin, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. High T drafter right next to us with 4 running backs.
Actually, this is perfect, right? We are reading the room. We're seeing all these running backs come off the board in Team 11. This is actually good process, going against the AI here. And look who's available right there, Allen Robinson. So he's my smash pick, to be honest, at that spot, especially when we're filling out the flex position. After this wide receiver pick, I do think we need to consider running back or quarterback. So I would leave that second pick to you. I do see some obvious quarterback value right there, but what do you think in terms of this 5-6 turn?
Yeah, I like Allen Robinson a ton, just like you. I think a lot of people are a little too hot on Hollywood Brown, if I'm being honest with you. I really think that while he might have a boom for the first 6 games when we see DeAndre Hopkins suspended, I think he's going to fall back down to earth once D-Hop returns. And I am much more of a fan of guys like Brandon Cooks, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen, Darnell Mooney, and Drake London than most people. But I really like this range at the wide receiver position. So we can go ahead and get
Let's
Allen
push
Robinson.
Let's take two. Let's take 2 of them. Get one of your dudes after that. I know it's a little bit risky, right? I've done this before. There's a risk of ruin here, but I think that we can push this. We're going late round quarterback. Well, at least for this draft. Let's get one of these guys. They're so talented, these wide receivers in this range.
Yeah, I think Brandon Cooks is probably the safest bet here. But since I already feel like, we already have 4 receivers, I don't think we necessarily need the safest guy. I think Brandon Cooks has some upside as well. So I'm going to go with the highest upside play, in my opinion. This is definitely probably going to be considered a reach. Are you fine with taking Darnell Mooney here or Drake London?
I'm fine with it. No, I'm absolutely fine with it. All these players in this range have about the same projected outcome if you look at positional ADP expectations. Go for that number 1 upside. I'm into it.
Yeah, I think Darnell Mooney has that. He's the clear number 1 receiver on the team. And then the number 2 receiver, try to think of who that's going to be. I have zero idea. It might be Velus Jones, who's 7,000 years old. I think Darnell Mooney's going to be seeing a million targets. And I think this offense is going to be a lot better without Matt Nagy. So I'm all in on the Darnell Mooney train.
He's got a guaranteed target share that very few wide receivers can say are coming their way this year. No doubt about it. We got Schultz off the board, Marquise Brown, Jalen Hurts, who I was considering there, Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, TJ Hawkinson, Damian Harris, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Miles Sanders, Tom Brady. And then we're back around with Thielen, Drake London, Treylon Burks, Ken Walker, A.J. Dillon, Dallas Goedert comes off the board. Then Kareem Hunt, Tony Pollard, Cordell Patterson, that's way too high at the 7-9. Gabriel Davis at the 7-10. He's going like 4 rounds higher in best ball right now. Dak Prescott with the 7-11. That probably would have been my pick. But look at what we got right here. We don't need a wide receiver. There's tons of available options. And I think there is a smash pick at running back and maybe even a smash pick at quarterback if you're feeling what I'm feeling.
All right, so running back, I think we're on the same page here. I think that player is Devin Singletary. Am I
Boom.
correct?
Like,
Yes.
case closed, cut print.
Yeah, okay. So Devin Singletary, the reason why we both like him is because late season last year we saw him really start playing very well. And I think that in 2022, while they drafted Zach Moss, I don't think he's necessarily not Zach Moss. Geez, they drafted him the year prior. They drafted James Cook. I
Yep.
really don't think that James Cook is going to play that big of a role into destroying Devin Singletary, unless Devin Singletary looks like how he did the beginning of last season, and then maybe things go awry.
I completely agree. In redraft, I'm fine taking chances on drafting both, to be honest. Not here. I'll wait till James Cook falls at this point. I think Russell Wilson's a great pick here, especially with how many quarterbacks are off the board. I'm fine with this spot. And then I'm worried about waiting till the 9-10 turn because we might end up with the Fields Tua section, and I think that's too late.
Okay.
Let's start the
Look.
run. I guess the
Okay.
Prescott pick started it, but
I mean, basically every other team has a quarterback though, besides us and Team Two.
okay. So if we believe that we're going to be fine, I like it. Read the room.
Okay. Because I'm fine getting
Go for
Trey
it.
Lance. I think we can get Trey Lance with the next pick.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
gonna be
So do
mad
you want
if
to
we
go running
don't.
back
So
then?
let's go running back again. You want your boy Penny or Chase Edmonds? Happy to take chances on them.
Yeah, I like Penny better than Chase Edmonds. I think Penny's going to be the number one back on the team. Sure, Kenneth Walker could take that over later in the season, but I really do think early on, if Penny doesn't get hurt, I think he's the guy all season.
I'm taking Chase there, but I'm okay with Penny as
Yeah.
well. I
Then
know
we'll
he's your
take
boy.
Chase. Chase is way
You're too
safer.
kind. You stick up for your choices, buddy.
Well, no. Why
Either
would I
one.
stick up for it? I also like Chase Edmonds. He's
Let's
one of
do
my
it.
highest owned players in best ball. So I like Chase Edmonds a ton. So after Chase Edmonds, we get the TikTok King, Juju Smith-Schuster, Elijah Moore, Rashad Penny, Hunter Renfro, Rashad Bateman, Devontae Smith, Russell Wilson, Garrett Wilson, Dawson Knox, Aaron Rodgers, Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, James Cook. Then we got Chris Olave, Melvin Gordon, Sky Moore, Pat Fryermouth, Matt Stafford, Christian Kirk, Mike Gesicki, Zach Ertz, Robert Woods. Well, I did read the room kind of wrong, but hey, there are still quarterbacks here that I like. I do like
Yep.
Trey Lance.
Yep.
If I'm being honest with you and you guys, most of your redraft leagues, people should not be taking two quarterbacks before they have all their receivers and their flex filled out. But you never know. Again, some leagues, people are very quarterback heavy. So to me, it's kind of a smash Trey Lance pick here.
I like it. The Trey Lance pick, I said in a recent podcast that someone's going to look really, really smart. This team expects to win now, and this is a rushing quarterback with floor and ceiling upside. Derek Carr, he's one of my highest owned players across all platforms. I think you can't miss here as long as you take one of those two quarterbacks.
Okay. I like Trey Lance definitely a little bit more than Derek Carr, but if we had Devontae Adams, I'd be fine doing a little bit of stacking action there, reaching for Carr. So we're back up on the board here. We do already have our tight end, which means we're probably not going to take two. So it's either running back or wide receiver here. Who do you like? Because to me, there is not necessarily a clear player here that I'm completely sold on.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a chance on Ramondre Stevenson. I actually like Ronald Jones despite the news that he might get cut. I don't think that's going to happen. Stevenson was the most talented rusher on a rush heavy team in the Patriots. And so I think that's free volume. And we know Damian Harris is not a pass catcher. So I think there is definitely a role there. And with James White still struggling to get back from that hip injury, I think Stevenson has a definite role within this offense.
Okay. My lean would have been Dameon Pierce, but I also am not, I'm not the biggest fan of Stevenson, but I do think that, Damian Harris just can't catch passes. Like
I
you said.
think
The guy
I
is so
think that we
good.
have no idea what's going to happen in Houston. I I think Rex Burkhead has a likelihood of being the guy there. I just don't
Oh
know
Lord.
if I can say that with certainty Damian Pierce, a fourth round pick, is going to get his spot.
Oh no, I
It's
don't
fine.
think
It's
it's
the
a
10th
lock
round.
either. But it is the 10th round, yeah. But we'll go with Stevenson. I like Stevenson's role in New England, and New England does like to run the ball, unless, of course, magically now they decide to become like this crazy pass-heavy team. So after we went with Stevenson came Christian Watson, Michael Carter, Michael Gallup, Chase Claypool, Kadarius Toney, Derek Carr, Russell Gage, Alexander Madison. I skipped Alan Lazard as well. Ronald Jones, Jameson Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Damian Pierce, Cole Kmet, Justin Fields, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson, MVS, Albert O, Kirk Cousins. You like that? Rashad White and Jahan Dotson.
All right. Let's go get some more running backs. I say we take some floor and some ceiling, in my opinion. I want to end this roster with at least 6 running backs. We only got 3 right now. My pick, honestly, Kenneth Gainwell, Naheem Hines. Hear me out. Kenneth Gainwell had one of the best fantasy points per touch from a young running back we've seen in years. I'm not sure the volume's going to be there. I know Miles Sanders is a decent pick. I know they want to be a more a more pass heavy team this year. He's not a player that I'm betting a whole lot in best ball, but I think in redraft, when I'm going to finish my draft with about 5 or 6 running backs, and I know I'm going to churn some on the waiver wire, Gainwell is one of those players who, if he had a bigger role than anyone expected coming out of week 1 or 2, would anyone be surprised, especially in the passing game there?
No.
I kind of like that pick for, ceiling purposes. And then I want JD McKissick or Naheem Hines for that 8 to 10 point floor game when I need it at RB2.
Okay, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think the riskiest pick here would be Tyler Algier. I think he probably has the most upside out of any of these running backs, but he also could be a complete flop, and we could just see more of Cordell Patterson like last season. I like
Yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell a ton. I'm not about the Miles Sanders bandwagon that Lofty's been on for the last, I don't know, 12 years of Miles Sanders' career, dating back to when he played in middle school. I'm more of a Kenneth Gainwell kind of a guy. I do think Miles Sanders is a fine pick though, where he's going, and then Naheem Hines would be my pick as well. So I like that pick.
There we go. All right. We are close to finishing out this draft. Tyler Boyd, I like that pick at the 12-2. Hunter Henry, your boy. Rondale Moore, Tua Tagovailoa. Tyler Algier does go. Then Kenny Galladay, Sean Watson, Irv Smith Jr., DJ Chark, Jarvis Landry, and Jacoby Myers to finish out the 12th. Into the 13th, Marlon Mack of the Texans does go. Trevor Lawrence, George Pickens, Mecole Hardman, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick, that's a smash pick of the Denver Broncos at 13-6. JD McKissick, David Njoku, Gus Edwards, which would have been my pick here, Matt Ryan, and then Jalen Tolbert, who I think you'll see continue to creep up draft boards as he gets positive press out of Dallas. Now, this is a situation where I'm going to lean into the uncertainty of the backfield in Miami. What if this offense takes the next step and we're just wrong about who the RB1 is? I think Raheem Mostert is viable here, as is Khalil Herbert, who had decent metrics. Obviously, I think he's a pure handcuff on a mediocre team, so he's not my favorite here. Jamal Williams is the free volume guy, as I talked about in a previous video, 14 opportunities a game to close out the final 6 games of the season. Do you have any other ideas where you would want to go, or do we actually want to get another wide receiver after loading up at the beginning?
I'd probably just go with Tyrion Davis Price. To me, he's either going to be a 0 point guy or the starting running back on the 49ers. And I think the starting running back on the 49ers, we've seen in the past, has been really good. Could be Jeff Wilson. It could be literally Trey Sermon. So I understand why you wouldn't want to go there. Are you definitely in on drafting Raheem Mostert if we already have Chase Edmonds?
It's something I'm fine with. I'm taking chances on 2 running backs on a team in redraft, right? Because I might be dropping a player that I drafted in the 13th round. So I don't feel like it's
Definitely.
some death knell. I don't mind at all. And Mostert, I mean, Mike McDaniels knows Mostert. So I'm excited for this backfield. And I think we have the RB1 between drafting these 2.
Okay, then yeah, let's do that. And then we should probably close the draft out with a receiver, right? We already have 6 running backs. We have 5 receivers.
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
I'm fine with starting with 5 receivers and keeping 5 receivers. I'm taking a quantity approach with running back because we need to find a running back 1. We did not spend draft capital on it. And again, at 14, 15 in the draft, I think it really doesn't matter who you go. Jamison Crowder is actually my highest ranked player here for redraft.
Okay, I agree with you. I like Jameson Crowder as well. I think that he's pretty sneaky and a solid player on a great team in the Buffalo Bills. So after our pick, we see Mac Jones, Khalil Herbert, Chuba Hubbard, Tyrion Davis Price, Gronk, Mark Ingram, Devontae Parker,
Gronk.
Tyler Higbee, Jamal Williams, Alec Pierce, Zach Wilson, the MILF Slayer, Hunter Henry. Oh, not Hunter Henry. Aiden Hurst, Van Jefferson, Jameis Winston, Odell, Darrell Williams, Zamir White, KJ Osborne, Brian Robinson, Deontay Foreman, Sony Michelle, and Robert Tunyon. Our final pick is
I love going with youth. I would take Robbie Anderson here. He's not young enough. If we had head over to the running back board, I usually love taking just a flyer running back. Hassan Haskins fits that bill. D'Ernest Johnson quietly fits that bill. Again, redraft league, waiver wire, we're probably just dropping this player. If you have a love here, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I want to go with Tyler Batty. I think that if Gus Edwards and if J.K. Dobbins are really messed up, I think Tyler Batty could step in and be the number one running back day one. But I'm not sold on any of these guys. It's the 15th round.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll take Batty, and then we'll recap the draft real quick. We take Travis Kelce at the 112, then Stephon Diggs, starting off a receiver and tight end heavy draft. Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney create the best receiving core in the entire league. Then we load up on running backs. While getting Trey Lance there in the middle, we get Devin Singletary, Chase Edmonds, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Gainwell, Raheem Hines, Raheem Mostert, Tyler Batty, and we throw in Jamison Crowder for a little bit of wide receiver floor value as well. Latching ourselves onto some elite offenses and some elite players. We got 3 Buffalo players and a Chiefs player that we expect to have high expectations. Those are the kinds of offenses I like to bet on. Really solid draft. Thanks for breaking it down. We are going to be back breaking down every single draft position in a 12-team draft. Nick and I will be back soon. Follow him at Notorious FNTSY. I'm Matt Savoca. Follow me at Draftaholic on the Twitters. Use that promo code Stokastic. Get a free draft kit and some free money over at Underdog. For Nick, I'm Matt. We'll see you guys next time.